Lochandas Thakur, he says that 3 times a day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to the Jagannath Mandir. The Jagannath Mandir represents organized religion. And as we mentioned, I think yesterday, God always supports organized religion. He always supports Jagannath. He doesn't complain that the Pandits don't let us inside the temple. It's very bad. But he has his reasons for that. Oh dine nate nehita charano nishchitamidam Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatumi. Oh dine nate nehita charano nishchitamidam. When Jagannath sees that someone feels very low and very fallen, and they're always crying, Jagannatha Swami, Nayana Patagami, Bhavatumi, where are you? I want to see you. Then Krishna Jagannath gives his mercy to that person. So Jagannath always supports organized religion. Krishna always supports that. Not far from the Jagannath Mandir in Puri, which represents organized religion, and there's a few other classrooms there also, it's another discussion. There's another classroom also, which is arguably the most important classroom. It's hard to say which of these two is the most important classroom in Puri because they're both the most prominent. That second classroom is the Gambhira. And that Gambhira means a very private, secret place. The word Gambhira has a number of different meanings. I'm getting off my subject a little bit, it's a nice topic. The word Gambhira means something deep. But Gambhira also, in the Arya tradition, refers to a room that a wealthy man has where he keeps his treasure. And so that Gambhira is a room where Kashi Mishra was keeping his treasure, of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And recently, one of our friends found a manuscript. Don't have it here in my notes. Very interesting. Another meaning of the word Gambhira. And it's broken up into like 3 different words. It's a little complicated. I don't remember the details. But it means one who is afraid, Bha, of Krishna, I think it was Ra, leaving. That's Gambhira. So Gambhira is another synonym for Radha, for Radharani. So there in the Gambhira, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's tasting the icing. And he's teaching us that if we want to get the full mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if we want to understand the Sankirtan movement, which is not just a Sankirtan movement, but it's a Prema Nam Sankirtan movement, the movement of Krishna Prem, then we also have to have a private place. We have our public face in the Jagannath Mandir, and we go out and we distribute books, and we do Harinam, and that's very good. But this movement did not begin on the street. This movement began in the house of Srivas Thakur. Yeah? And Bideshi Prabeshni Shade, outsiders were forbidden entrance. It was only for the Antaranga Bhaktas, those internal devotees. That's where this movement began. And that's where our movement should begin as persons. As individuals, we need to have a private place. And this is why it's so wonderful that we have festivals like this. So we have Kirtan melas. And I'm going to embarrass him, please forgive me, Maharaj, but Sachinanda Maharaj has done a very wonderful thing for our movement by introducing these retreats and these Kirtan melas, because we need this. We need to have a room where we can go by ourselves, where everybody's a vegetarian, and I don't have to tell you not to eat meat. I'm tired of speaking about that all the time. It's okay if I'm speaking to someone on the street. But I've seen devotees. I remember one big temple, one very senior devotee gave a class, and the whole class, only to devotees, was all about why you should be vegetarian with reasons from the Bible. And I, with all respect, with all respect to the Bible, with all respect to the teachings of vegetarianism, which are important, we also have to have something for our hearts. If that's all that we speak about, then we're just going to end up leaving. Or worse yet, we may end up becoming like Bakasur and putting on some big show and thinking that the whole point of everything is just to make some money. There's a nice poem that we came across a few years ago let's see. This is from a book called Hymns for the Drowning. Nice title, isn't it? There's one scholar, and he's a translation, poetic translation of a song by Nam Alware. It's just a poem. Please listen. See. Mumbling and prattling the many names, why onlookers say they're crazy. Entering and not entering cities, standing still or swaying before a laughing world. They dance, they leap, undone by feeling, and the gods bow down before them. So this is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. We don't want to be like Bakasura. He looks like a great sadhu. He looks like such a pucka person. He's all white, he's very brilliant, but he's a rascal. And he represents Namaparad, offense to the holy name, because he's not simple, he's not honest. It's not bad to be fallen, but what's very bad is to be duplicitous. And it becomes sometimes a little difficult when we have a hierarchy, and we have a big movement, and everybody wants to be respected. And I think, you know, if I tell everybody here what's really going on in my mind, they'll never let me give class here again. They'll never invite me. Mukunda Gopal will stop bringing prasadam to me. Nobody will give me any donation. So I better shut up. I better not say it. But that's not the mood of Haridas Thakur. That's not the mood of Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis. They opened their heart up. And whatever faults were there, they freely showed that to everybody. It's a little difficult to do. We can speak about this. But to practically do it in our society, especially if you're a sannyasi or a guru, a big person in a society, if we go and we start speaking about our faults, people will say, well, gosh, either he's really humble or we shouldn't invite him to come anymore. As Maharaj was saying with humility this morning. But we need that. We need to just be who we are, just to be really honest. And then we can really do Nam Bhajan. We have to stop being like Bakasura. And such a person won't look very good. They're crazy people. We printed this poem in our Krishna Katamrita Bindu magazine. I don't have the issue number here. And we printed an ecstatic photo. It was a picture of one devotee. One devotee was playing Mridanga and Harinam. There's another devotee who was dancing, and he was leaping in the air like about, I mean, he was really about this high off the ground, literally. And it was just such an ecstatic picture. And people are laughing when they see these devotees mumbling and prattling the many names. And they're mumbling and prattling. Prattling means the talk of a mad person. And onlookers say, these people, they're crazy. It's not something you're going to get respect by. And such devotees, they enter and they don't enter the cities. I would suggest that this is a lesson Krishna wants to give us in the Gita, these 4 instructions. Not that we should go away and we should stop doing kirtan with the devotees and we should stop our activities of book distribution and preaching. No, we should increase them. But we need to learn the art of being alone in the crowd. We may be surrounded by 1,000 people, and maybe everybody's adoring you and paying attention to you, but you're completely oblivious to them. Like Lord Rishabdev is described in the Bhagavatam. He was going places, and there was a huge crowd of people following him, and they're all saying, yeah, I'm with him, Maharaj and I. But Lord Rishabdev, he said, I have no idea who these people are. He was completely self-situated and had no interest in all those people around him. We also need to have some aspect of that in our life. We should feel very great compassion for others. But at the same time, we need to have the quality of detachment. That it's up to Krishna. Krishna's in control. Krishna's a preacher. I'm not a preacher. I'm not a preacher. I can't solve anyone's problems. All that I can do is what I'm supposed to do. Repeat what I've heard. All that I can do is just chant Hare Krishna. And it's such an insignificant thing. I'm not a big person. It's just such a humble, small job. It's not something I'm thinking of. It's not that I have some new realization. I'm such a great person or something. I'm just a postman. A postman's not a very and prestigious job. I'm just carrying the mail. And that's our kirtan. That's our Krishna Katha in this movement. It's a very, very humble thing. And when someone has that kind of mood, then Krishna can actually speak through them. But if someone wants to pretend like they're Bakasura, then that person, he may look like he's taking Krishna in his mouth in the form of the name, but he can't digest it. He can't swallow Krishna. It'll just stay outside. So the devotees, they enter and they don't enter into the cities. They're standing still or they're swaying. Some they're dancing before a laughing world. This is what it means to join this movement. Everybody makes fun of you. Very good. It's such a nice thing. In my false prestige, there's some hope that it may go away. And they dance, they leap, undone by feeling. And the gods bow down before them. That all the demigods, they respect such a person as this. And we read something from the Brahma Vivarta Purana. The Garga Samhita gives a similar description that the demigods, when Bakasura swallowed Krishna, they became very, very disturbed. And they came there with their weapons to fight with Bakasura. The same description is given practically in Brahma Vivarta Purana and Garga Samhita. And Garga Samhita describes that Bakasura, they cut his foot a little bit. That was about all they did. It was like practically no harm to him. They couldn't do anything to him. But they had this pride. They had this feeling that they could do something. My Guru Maharaj told a story once that once there was a king who was a great devotee. And another king came and attacked his country with a great army. And so that king took his army and went out and they began fighting. And this king was a great devotee. As he was fighting, his army was losing. And he was going to be destroyed. And it said that Lakshmi and Narayan were watching. And Lakshmi Devi, she told her husband, you should go, you should save him, you should do something. Lord Narayan said, I know, he's my devotee. He said, but he's not calling for me. He's not asking for me. So why should I go? So, as we mentioned yesterday, as Maharaj was saying this morning, we have three friends. Dukkha, Trasa, Aparadajar, Anorjitam, Tadinata, Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Our three friends, he doesn't put it that way, but if we think about it, they're our friends. Unhappiness, fear, and the sense of having committed some offense. Or to put it in another word, being honest. Those three things give rise to our humility. And then we can really begin to do bhajan with some sincerity. And it's not just some religious rituals that we do. A funny thing happened today. I had something in my mind the last couple of days. There's an article that we wrote a few years ago about Janmastami, why people observe Janmastami. And I was thinking, oh, I should send this to Dandavats, the website. And then I go and I check my email, and one of my friends wrote me and said, oh, I just saw this article that you posted on Dandavats about observing Janmastami. And without me saying anything, Chitrika Prabhu, the webmaster for the site, he posted that article. I was very surprised. I just found out, so I thought, maybe Krishna's telling me something. So I wanted to give you a little summary of some of the points which also are connected with our discussion today about Janmastami. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, the 15th Vilas describes the importance of observing Janmastami. And it gives three different reasons. Nityatam cha param tasya bhagavat prinanam matam vidivakyam visesascha karane pratyavayata. Three different reasons why we should observe Janmastami. He says that we should do it, one, because it's a nitya dharma and it should always be done. It's very important. And because if you don't do it, then you may get some sin by not observing that. And the third reason is that Krishna's pleased by it. So it's an interesting thing. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, after that, there's something like 20 verses which describe the frightening reasons why we should observe Janmastami. And there's a lot of heavy things that are said. If you don't fast on this day, if you drink even one drop of water, then they tell you about all the terrible suffering you're going to experience in hell if you don't observe Janmastami in a proper way. Don't even think about food. Very, very bad. So that's one motivation. And then he speaks about another section. There's another almost 100 verses speaking about the material benefits you'll get by observing Janmastami, and it's pretty good. You can become Indra. You can get the girl you've always been wanting to get. You can get that husband you really wanted. You can get the children you want. You can become Indra. You can get lots of money. You can get a PhD. You can get all the kind of things you want by observing Janmastami. And there's half a verse that speaks about, it says, Pitaye Krishna Vallabha. One half of a verse, text 267, describes that many kings such as Prahlad observed it because it's pleasing for Krishna. Now what does this tell us? It tells us that Gopal Bhatta Goswami, or sometimes we say Sanatana Goswami, who compiled Hari Bhakti Vilas, they were thinking about a particular audience. It reminded me of some presentation that Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives in Chaitanya Siksamrita, where he describes 4 reasons why someone worships the Lord. Bhaya, Asha, Kartavya, Buddhi, and Rag. Bhaya means out of fear. And this is a presentation that is made in Hari Bhakti Vilas. If you don't observe Janmastami, if you don't stay up until midnight, if you take a nap during the day, if you drink even a drop of water, forget it.